Dear friends, today's world seems to be going through a strange turmoil, with rumors of war around the world, conflicts and tensions in various regions, all of which are becoming more complicated day by day. The long-standing conflict between Saudi Arabia and Yemen, the political tension between the United States and Venezuela, and the growing instability surrounding the Persian lands, especially Iran, all of which raise a big question. Are these just contemporary political events, or is there a deeper warning hidden within them? Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had long ago hinted that chaos, conflict, and instability would spread across the world before the arrival of Imam Mahdi. Is today's global situation pointing us towards that prophecy? If you believe in the prophecy of the prophet, then comment below, "I believe in the prophecy of the prophet." Prophet Muhammad has drawn our attention to a profound and warning reality. In a reliable narration, he mentioned that 6 major signs will appear before the hour, and when these signs start appearing one after another, it should be understood that the day of judgment is very near. In this series of signs, he also spoke of the arrival of a great leader, one who will be guided correctly by Allah. In history, this figure is known as Al-Mahdi. His emergence will change the course of the world. The Prophet Muhammad explained this leader will appear at a time when the world will be filled with oppression, injustice, and moral degradation. There will be a reign of injustice all around, and truth will be suppressed. At that very time, he will re-establish justice, fairness, and goodness in society. Just as the world was once filled with oppression, just as according to the prophet, he will once again fill the world with justice. During this period, a great transformation will occur throughout the world. People of different races and backgrounds will be attracted to Islam. This change will not be limited to Muslims. After recognizing the truth, many non-Muslims will also embrace Islam. The narration says that this number will reach several thousand. Then a new chapter of conflict will begin. Prophet Muhammad said that with the help of Allah, the first major war will take place in the Arabian Peninsula. That region will be conquered, and the authority of that leader will be established over the entire Arabian land. Then this movement will advance towards the Persian region, which in modern language largely corresponds to Iran and the surrounding regions. There will be very fierce and intense fighting. At this stage, the Muslim leadership will continue to expand and strengthen. Later, they will face one of the most influential military powers of the time, who are historically referred to as the Roman army. In this context, Prophet Muhammad reminded people of a profound truth directly related to the timeline of the Day of Judgment. He said that 6 major signs will appear before the Judgment Day, the first 5 of which have already occurred. These signs are each a warning to mankind to realize the importance of time. The first sign was the death of Prophet Muhammad, which is the beginning of this sequence. Another sign was a terrible disease that spread quickly and caused the death of a large number of people, of which we see real examples in history. Prophet Muhammad also described several other important signs of the end times, which force people to think deeply. He explained that at one time a peace treaty would be concluded with the Muslims by a very powerful nation. The nation referred to in the Hadith as between you and them refers to the Muslims and the Banu al-Asfar, who are historically identified as the Romans or European powers descended from the Romans. No major wars will take place during this period. Many scholars and researchers have interpreted this description as pointing to an era in which there will be no open military conflict between the Muslim world and the European powers. Rather, there will be apparent peace. But Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, clearly warned that this peace treaty would not last. At some point, that power would betray the Muslims. They would suddenly break the treaty and launch a brutal and planned attack. This betrayal would be the result of cold-blooded, merciless, and complete calculation. The Prophet also gave an astonishing description of the enemy forces. He said that they would advance with a huge army, which would be divided into 80 separate flag armies. Each army would have about 12,000 soldiers. In total, their number would reach about 1 million. Very few wars in history have seen such a huge army gathering. This army would camp in a region called Amak, or Dabik, which is part of present-day Syria. On the other hand, the Muslim army would advance from Medina and gather for battle. The Muslims would be many times fewer in number than the enemy. Before the battle began, a demand would be raised. They will say they do not want to fight Al-Mahdi. Rather, they want their people back, who at one time were among them, but later embraced Islam. Al-Mahdi and the believers will firmly respond. They will not hand over anyone. Those who have newly embraced Islam are now also brothers of Muslims. Muslims will never hand over their brothers to the enemy, not at any cost. Just as the war is about to begin, a terrible incident occurs. In the battle, 1/3 of the Muslim army will collapse. They will say in despair that this battle is beyond their strength. They will flee from the battlefield. As a result, the number of the Muslim army will be reduced even further. Nevertheless, the remaining Muslims will remain steadfast. They will be ready for battle. On the first day, a fierce battle will continue until sunset. At the end of the day, neither side will be able to claim victory. However, a large part of the Muslims will be martyred on that day. On the second day, the remaining Muslims will gather again. They will make a firm determination to fight to the death. Fierce fighting will continue throughout the day. At the end of the day, they will return to camp, but this time a large part of the Muslim army will be lost again. By the third day, the situation will become extremely critical for the Muslims. Their numbers will be severely reduced. Fatigue and fear will spread everywhere. The situation will be extremely terrible. Nevertheless, Al-Mahdi will still be alive. He will continue to fight with all his remaining strength, with unwavering faith and complete trust in Allah. On the third day, the battle will begin again. The Muslims will then take a firm oath. Victory or martyrdom, there is no other way out. The fierce battle will continue throughout the day. But before the end of the third day, most of the Muslim army will be martyred. The situation will then be on the verge of collapse. Then, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, explained, on the fourth day, the picture of the war will suddenly change. Many Muslims who had not previously pledged allegiance or participated in the war will suddenly start coming. Some from distant regions, some secretly, some by difficult paths. They will reach the battlefield in any way possible. Everyone will then have the same decision. No more. This time we must stop. This time we must stand. Seeing this sudden increase in strength, fear and panic will spread in the enemy camp. The arrival of a large number of new Muslim warriors will break their morale. The battle that will then take place will be one of the most terrible and intense clashes in history. It is also referred to in many accounts as the greatest battle of all time. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The world has never seen such a war before."
The intensity of this clash between the Muslim and Roman armies was unimaginable. The horror of the war would reach such a level that not even a bird flying over the battlefield would be able to reach the other side safely. Finally, with the help of Allah, the Muslims would be victorious. After this victory, they would conquer Constantinople, present-day Istanbul, which is considered one of the most important and epoch-making achievements in history. However, this victory was very valuable and achieved at the cost of terrible sacrifice. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, although a lot of booty would be obtained, the depth of the loss would still outweigh that joy. The sacrifices that the Muslims would have to make in this war were beyond imagination. The narration states, out of every 100 families that participated in the war, only one member would survive. All the rest would be martyrs. The joy of victory was not yet completely over. At that very moment, a terrible announcement would be heard. This announcement will not be made by an ordinary human voice. Satan himself will make the announcement. He will say, something even more terrible has happened. He will announce that Dajjal has appeared. And right from here, the greatest chapter of tribulation in the history of mankind will begin.